Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp.com, and I've been with them for a long time. BetterHelp is an online platform where we found that you can effectively communicate with your therapist. Now, you begin by filling out a questionnaire, and then you'll be matched with a therapist within a couple of days. And if that match isn't ideal for you, you can certainly make an adjustment there. Now, you're going to be encouraged to journal, and also they have the availability for group therapy on a wide array of topics, and I really like that. So as the need exists, go ahead and take the necessary steps to get the help that you need. And just know that BetterHelp has a 4.5 rating on Trustpilot, so it indeed is a platform you can trust. There's a link below the video that will take you there. Hey there, Team Healthy. I'm so glad to be with you on yet another episode of Unbound. My able assistant, Gus, and I welcome you here. Keep in mind that as we go through this Unbound series, what I'm doing is I'm fielding questions and comments from you, and I'm putting them into a little bit of an organized way, and then we're going to deal with the things that are on your mind. And so you're driving the Unbound series. If you have any kind of questions, put them beneath the video, and who knows, it may be that one of the videos in the future will be some of your questions. Now, today, I've got some questions from people who are wondering if they can have any kind of impact in the life of the narcissist to the good. And there's a sense that says, I know that I'm dealing with a very difficult situation, but does it have to be that way? I want you to think, how many times have you thought like that? And I know that many times when you've had repetitive exposure to a narcissist dysfunction and all the anger and agitation and irritability and unnecessary arguing, et cetera, that they bring to the equation, it's easy to develop an attitude of cynicism or futility. Just forget it all. Why would I even bother with that individual? And I get it, because they can be so difficult. But let's go into this space. I've got 3 comments here that I'm going to get into and see where some of our listeners are. The first person says, can you advise on how to be a positive role in a narcissist's life? Okay, I appreciate that. Is it possible to slowly show support, patience, and peace, if for no other reason than to be the one soul to attempt to show that person kindness and authentic concern for their mental health and happiness? Okay, now let's just pause right there. I know that there are many individuals who will scoff when they hear such a question as this. Can I be a role model of kindness and goodness toward that narcissist? You know what? I wonder about people who don't ask such a question. And I get it. There could be times when you're at your limit and you just can't go any further. And I know that many of you are that place. But I'm hoping that each one of us can have the thought that says, well, we live in community, and I want to make sure that I'm doing my very best to create a communal atmosphere where goodness and decency is there. And I respect somebody who says, I want to be that way, and especially when I'm in the position of somebody who's quite troubled. This person goes on to say, and there's one word in this next segment I hope you can pick up on. Are there any techniques, even small ones, that might chip away at their insecurity, fear, self-pity, toxicity, and abuse? The one word that I'm focusing on is the word techniques. There's no technique that you can use when you go through an interaction with narcissists. You see, one of the things that I would work with when I was working with my people in my counseling office is we can rearrange the chairs on the deck of the Titanic, but the ship can still go down. In order for change to happen, you don't want to just come up with techniques. You don't want to come up with, well, if I say this in this tone of voice, or if I use this timing, then maybe that'll be it. Or if I speak in a very positive way about where we can go, maybe that will be what works. Not that any of that stuff is bad or wrong, but techniques in and of themselves don't make a person change. An individual changes when they examine themselves down at the level of essence. Okay, now essence comes from the Latin root word that means being. In order for an individual to change, it's not about having good techniques, etc., but it's about examining who you are from the inside out. What drives me, what causes me to be the way that I am, what motivates me, why am I the way that I am, what influences have I had to the good, to the not good. That's how change is going to happen when you go down and have that introspective, analytical way of thinking. And that's not something you can do on behalf of the other person. Now, to this person, I'm thinking, well, I think it's great that you would be someone that says, well, I'd like to model that. And then I'm thinking, well, I'm going to model that whoever I'm with. But let's go with the notion that says, but that in and of itself isn't going to make that person change. They have to want it from the inside out. Then this person goes on and asks a question, and I'm guessing most of you are going to have the same reaction to this question. This person says, is it okay to be vulnerable with the narcissist, or are these humans beyond any or all help? That question about vulnerability, that's something you have to be careful about. I know that when you're trying to inspire someone to make some adjustments, there might be times when you can share some of your own personal experiences. And I think that's great. That's the vulnerability, and I think we need to have a certain amount of that as we grow and we bond with one another. Narcissists, though, are terribly transactional. When you're vulnerable with them, they're thinking, okay, now that you've given me this, how can I use this to my favor? And so I would not really suggest vulnerability until they begin showing it to you in their own right. And keep in mind, even when a narcissist is vulnerable, for example, if they say, well, I've had some problems in my past that I need to come to terms with, you'll notice that one of the first things they do is they start talking about how bad the other person was. Yeah, I had a bad past. My father was a miserable person, or my ex was an awful human being. And then they go on, and then you begin hearing they take on the victim's mindset, and they don't get out of that. As opposed to saying, I had some difficult circumstances, and I've had to take a hard look at who I am and why I respond to the way that I do. So let's keep in mind, change has to come from within the narcissist. Let's take another question, and it's along the same lines. It's about somebody who spent a long period of time wishing this same thing. This next person says, 29 years of my life was wasted trying to get it right with a person who is not right. I burned so much energy trying to fix the relationship. How do you get past that, Dr. C? Well, this is one of the biggest complaints that I've had. And that is, I spent so much energy trying to do the right thing for that narcissistic person, and I just got burned. And then when they say, yeah, and I feel like I wasted so much time. Now, I understand where a person like that's coming from. In other words, well, I was hooked up with this person when there were other fish in the sea that I could have been connected with and wouldn't have had nearly the difficult time, or I spent so much time dealing with this individual that I lost some personal opportunities that I could have pursued, but no, I was tied to whatever is going on there. So I understand that you feel like there were some possibilities lost in your own personal life. But when you've been through some difficulty with another individual, and then you're finally on the backside of that, looking back, is that wasted time? And the optimist in me says, well, it's not completely wasted if it prompts you to think about who you are and where you're going, which is what the narcissist tends not to do. I'm hoping that this person can look back and say, yeah, 29 years is a long time that I was dealing with somebody who did not have my best interest at heart. And I just feel like there was somebody else that could have filled that role much better. But it's not wasted when it forces you to think, I can do better. And here's what I'm going to do as a result of what I've been through. And so many times people can look back with the coulda, woulda, shouldas, and they torment themselves. And I try to remind people, when you were in your teens or 20s or 30s, so many times you just didn't know what you didn't know. And life is a growth process. And awarenesses and insights unfold as each year and each decade goes by. And so if you've had a long period of time where it just didn't go well, consider yourself in school, so to speak. And then what you have to work with is your today. What am I going to do today? And if it doesn't make the other person any different, I want to make sure that I'm still working on my own personal growth. And then a third comment, and this person kind of hits the nail on the head. This person says, to some degree, the narcissist must face a certain amount of pain and struggle on their own. Be fair and compassionate to yourself and others. The key is to do what's right, but don't make it your job to cure or to save the person who refuses to grow. Perfectly said. Well stated. The number one thing that can prompt a person to grow psychologically is pain. Okay? When you're in enough pain and you think, you know what, I've been doing certain things for a period of time and it's just killing me. I don't like what it does to me. I ache psychologically because of the experiences that I've had. Then you can be ready to say, therefore, something needs to be different. Growth comes out of pain management, if you will. Now, I want you to think, what is the narcissist pain management strategy? One simple way, or one simple thing we can say, and that is they want to put you in charge of making them feel less pain. That's their pain management strategy. That's why they're so controlling and so bossy and so agitated when you don't do what you're supposed to do. Whereas healthy individuals will say, well, if I'm in pain, I need to listen to the message that the pain is giving me, and then I need to act accordingly so that I don't repeat the same old mistakes that I've been doing. So we go back, should you make that effort to try to impact the narcissist in a healthy way? And the answer is, well, live cleanly. And if it does help somebody, that would be great. But don't take it upon yourself to change somebody who's not in that mindset that says, I want my essence to be different. If they're not at that place, then all you can do is be a good role model and say, here's what a healthy life looks like. And then as time passes and you begin realizing they illustrate that they couldn't care less about whatever role modeling you're doing, then it's a matter of saying, okay, time has passed. I'm listening to what the messages are, and I'm going to move on accordingly. So I compliment you when you say, I want to be a positive element in that person's life, but I caution you when I say, but don't make it your job to force somebody to be someone that they just choose not to be. That's on them. That's not on you. Now, if you haven't already subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. I consider it a privilege when you allow me to be on your journey with you. You know that I'm sponsored by various individuals. One of the sponsors that I have is BetterHelp. It's an online therapy resource. And if you need help sifting through all of this, you know that I'm a big believer in that. Obviously, I spent my whole career doing that. And so go beneath the link, go beneath the video to the link there, and you can get the assistance that you would need. Also, if you will, go to my website. We have lots of resources for you there. On there, I have my online courses, my classes that are very extensive. Each course has at least 25 teaching videos and handouts, guided questions. We have about anger and boundaries and finding yourself and how to pursue the healthy lifestyle. In addition to all of that, we have my webinars, which are 90-minute PowerPoint presentations of a different nature on a variety of subjects there. And all along with that, we have lots of articles for you to peruse, along with my books, etc. Okay, should you try to impact the narcissist? And the answer is, I just encourage you to live healthy. And if there's anything that's going to impact someone, that would be a good way to go. But then be realistic. Understand that for them to change, they have to want to change. And they have to want to change their essence. And that's where it gets sort of dicey. Not enough people think, yeah, I need to examine myself. Instead, the narcissist says, I need to examine you and force you into my mold so that I can be okay. That's not a winning combination. So, guys, thanks for sending in these questions. If you have your own, put them in the video, put them in the comment section, and hopefully we can get to some more that will take you down this path. I appreciate, again, you letting me be on the path with you, and I wish you peace. I wish you success in your efforts.